All right, I'm back again. The kid is back in the saddle again. Let's talk Teris, okay? So you've heard me talking for, a month or so, a little bit longer than that, about how it is possible to free the Ethereum in the gears. Now, my original concept when I first made that statement was way different from what we have come up with now. We've actually been back and forth on a number of different ways to do this. But this is the final concept. This is what we're going to go with because this is what's going to work. We initially had like a P3D style contract with a 99.9% buy in. And it was basically a donation pool. Um, and the only point of a point zero 0.01 or 0.1% of your Ethereum buying tokens was to keep track of how much everyone had given us, so that when the time came to pay back the contract, you would get the right amount of money back. Because if you put in 10 Ethereum and I put in 1 Ethereum, we both shouldn't get 5 Ethereum back, right? But we decided not to do that because I sure as fuck wouldn't buy into a 99.9% haircut contract. And that was only going to be on the buy. The sell was going to be, no tax. And we weren't going to give the option to reinvest because that would kind of defeat the purpose of tracking who put in how much. But that's. I thought about it and I was like, I wouldn't buy into that. So why the hell would any of you? Then we had, okay, maybe we do like a lottery where, like 20% of the funds collected actually go to the gears, you know? And then we're like, nah, just because, once again, I don't really like lotteries, and there were so many different concepts that we came up with. And then we had the idea, well, why don't we make a doubler that actually works? And I know what you're thinking, Jarhead. Doublers are the reason we're in this mess to begin with. Why the hell would we go into another doubler? Well, if it was any other doubler, I would agree with you. If it was just a doubler that, say, 10% of the funds got sent to the gears instead, I would agree that wouldn't work. All right, sorry, I had to go do a little bit of daddy duty stuff. It's early in the morning, but the kid wakes up early, takes after me. Anyway, yeah, so if it was just another doubler that, like, I don't know, 10% went to freeing the gears, that wouldn't work either because eventually the new doubler would get stuck too. And then we'd have to free the new doubler. So, then we launched Evolution. And that got my brain spinning in a whole different direction. Because Evolution was the first contract that tried to take the zero-sum aspect out of the zero-sum aspect contract game. Now, we didn't get the volume in Evolution that we needed to really make it what it could be, what it could have been, and that's, we can blame one certain individual who bailed really early. We can blame the ambassadors who dumped on day one. We can blame ourselves. And I personally do blame ourselves because WPI, we were in charge of it. There's a lot of things that we learned. We made a lot of mistakes, but we have learned from those mistakes. But the fact of the matter is, Evolution didn't really work. I believe one of the main reasons because a very, very small percent of what went in got taken back out to reduce the zero-sum aspect. So, Teris is going to be a little different than any other doubler. First of all, doubler is a misnomer. Just like the Gears games, the profit is going to be 25%. So if you put in 1 Ethereum, you're going to get 1.25 back. If you put in 2 Ethereum, you're going to get 2.5 back. Now, when you put in only 62.5% is going to be sent to pay the line. The rest is going to be taken out of the contract and sent to a shared trading wallet to generate, we're going to be putting them in platforms to generate daily payouts for us. And this Ethereum is what's going to be used to pay the line when it locks. Make no mistake, Teris will lock. The goal is to try and get in and out, and in and out, and in and out as many times as you can before it locks. But we've actually hard-coded a lock period into it, okay? We did this for a few reasons. First and foremost, we wanted to make sure that the backlog never got out of control, never got out of hand, too much Ethereum to ever pay back, or it would take a year and a half, of daily payouts to clear that line. That's something that we didn't want to do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep the rounds fairly short to reduce the amount of time it takes to pay back. Now, with that being said, each round will be faster than the previous round because the Ethereum we generate in round 1 doesn't go away when we finish paying round 1. It's going to stay in place. And then round 2, once we have paid the line, we're going to unlock the contract and we're going to play again. Round 2, the Ethereum generated in round 2 will be added to round 1. So round 2 will only take half the time to pay back that round 1 did. And so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Now, the rounds aren't going to decrease by half every time because that's not the way math works. But they will get shorter and shorter and shorter until it is 100% self-sustainable. Now, what I mean by that is that when I say self-sustainable, my goal is that when the contract locks, within 1 week, everyone will have been paid back. The goal is to get, eventually 4 rounds of play-in every month, So this means that you can double your Ethereum that you put in every month. Now, there are some stipulations on this. First and foremost, the buy-in is going to be fixed. 0.5 Ethereum per play. Since the easiest way to establish the rounds of play is with a certain number of transactions. Excuse me. What we did not want is we did not want one of those transactions to be for, 0.1, and then the next transaction would be for like 2.5 Ethereum. That would just mess with all the numbers. So unfortunately, you are going to need a decent amount of money to play this. It's the way of the game. Another advantage to having a fixed buy-in is we can actually predetermine how much Ethereum will be generated per round, how much Ethereum will be owed to the line per round, so on and so forth. Whereas if we left this up to the players, that would be a completely unknown number, because what if I only had, 0.2? So I only put in 0.2, but this other guy's got 5. It just, we could try and average and guess, but I don't like to guess when I don't have to. So it's going to be 0.5 Ethereum per buy-in. Now you can buy in a maximum number of times of 4 at any given point in time. So the maximum that you will be owed, this right here, and this is just a mock-up, guys, of the UI. The actual UI is going to look a little bit different, but this is the mock-up of the UI, so it's pretty damn close. So the maximum that you will see in that window of I am owed is 2.5. That's the max. So you put in your 2 Ethereum, you max out your 4 transactions, and you get paid. Well, then you can play again. You can put back in, assuming that the contract isn't locked at that time. So if you're one of the first people in, you could go through 7 or 8 times in theory before the lock period, and you'd be locked on your 8th or 9th time. You also could put in your 2 Ethereum shortly before the lock and be stuck waiting for a payout. It's kind of the nature of the beast. We are going to have a little bar that'll show you how many transactions have been put in. So you can kind of watch that to kind of get a guess. But I promise you guys, and I know I said this before with the Gears of War, you will get paid, because this is not going to be dependent on a contract that's still being played. This is going to be money out there utilizing arbitrage trading bots. Not necessarily arbitraging.co trading bots, although we do plan on using arbitraging.co as one of our companies. Excuse me, guys. But there will be Ethereum generated each and every day to pay the line. And that's the idea. That's the goal, is to have this line moving every day. In the beginning, it's going to be a little slow. It's just the nature of the beast. The only way we could prevent that would be to either not lock the contract at all, but, or do something crazy, like 10,000 transactions are going to be a lock, and that's just, that's too much, guys. That is way too much, and it would have a lot, and I mean a lot, of Ethereum still owed to the contract to pay everyone at 10,000 transactions. So yes, we'd have more Ethereum to trade with, and we'd be making more money, but there would be also a lot more money that we had to pay. So, so let's see. I covered the buy-in, the max transactions. So let's talk time frame. The initial first round, it's going to depend on how long it takes. Our goal is to get $100,000 worth of coins trading. That would be the goal. Obviously, we're going to put a time frame on it, because we're going to wait for a little bit of token appreciation, because we're not going to be able to raise $100,000 worth of Ethereum without also having a crazy big backlog. So we are going to take the Ethereum that is collected, and initially we're not going to trade with it unless the price happens to spike that day. But we do have target prices in mind, and an overall target price out there trading. So the goal is 100,000 to begin with. That number should, in theory, generate a couple of Ethereum minimum per day. So at that point, the first round will take a couple months to pay out. It is what it is, guys. I told you it was going to be a long-term project. The only other way that we could free the gears and the ETH would be maybe if we won FOMO long, we'd have plenty of Ethereum to pay out the gears. But I'm not that tech savvy. Okay, I can't program a bot to try and snipe that pot, and realistically, that's probably the only way anyone's ever going to win that thing. You know, and I'm sure that there's been a couple hundred other people who've come to that conclusion who know how to make bots. So I'm just not interested in competing for that. I'm sorry. If that's your bag, feel free to go about and do that, you know, and pay out the gears, man. But regardless, you know, so we're going to try and get it to a point where we can pay the first round in a couple of months. It may take a little longer. It may not. You know, we do have a secondary goal. If we can't get 100,000, we do have another number in mind, which will take a little bit longer. But once we have started trading, we will make an announcement with an expected time to go ahead and pay out the Teris line. Now, how does this help gears? There is 0% of the money that you send to Teris will be sent to the gears. What's going to happen is round one gets finished paying out. Okay, so we've collected all the Ethereum we need to pay everyone in Teris, and we have already paid them out, and it's done. From that point, we're going to spend 2 weeks paying out gears. We're going to start with the smaller one and work our way up. You know, so we'll spend 2 weeks paying out gears of war first, because that is the lowest amount of Ethereum needed to clear that line. So we'll clear that line, and then we'll move on to gears of death, and then finally we're going to tackle famine. That's the biggest one. It's got the most Ethereum owed. It's going to take the longest, but by that time we should be generating a significant amount of Ethereum per day, and hopefully we'll be able to clear that in 1 or 2 rounds. But we're going to spend 2 weeks paying the gears, and then we're going to open Teris back up for the next round of play. You know, so Teris opens back up, you're playing, you're getting in, you're getting out, you're putting back in, you're getting out, you know, and luckily that max, you know, so if you have 2 Ethereum to play with already, you're going to put 2 Ethereum in, you're going to get 2.5 back out. You're only going to put 2 Ethereum back in, and then you're going to get 2.5 back out. And again, you're only going to put 2 Ethereum in. You know, so it's going to pay you 0.5 Ethereum every time you get through. You know, and we're kind of forcing you to take your profit there. Now, there are ways around that limit. I'm not going to go into them in this video. But I'm sure if you wanted to figure out a way to get around that, you could. And it's really not that difficult to do, but we have limitations on what we can program in to prevent that kind of a thing. And that's just beyond our abilities. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just not something I know how to do. So we're going to force you to take your profit. And in this way, we're paying you to help us free the gears. You know, and if you happen to be stuck in the gears as well, you are getting paid to free up your own money later, which I think is kind of cool. Now, let's see here. Is there anything else I wanted to go over in Teris? Let's check. I've got a little memo. Okay, so here's how you spell it. We are going to charge a 5% developer fee to money that is put into the gears, or into Teris, sorry. We're not going to take any of the profit from the trading. It's just the Ethereum that's put into Teris. The reason for that is because it costs money to make projects, guys. So we need to recoup our costs, and it's going to require daily action on our part. So this gives us a little bit of incentive to do that, besides the overall freeing the Ethereum from the gears. So there's the breakdown. 0.3125 pays the line, 0.1625 to the trader, and 0.025 to the dev per buy-in. And I've got the numbers here. You know, this is what's going to be owed here. Don't mind this. We were looking at a different program The crypto trader bot from Telegram is one of the first ones that we had in mind to use. However, they are having some issues with their Bitcoin bot, not their Ethereum bot. And honestly, I don't know how much longer they're going to be around. So if you're in the crypto trading bot, like I am, what I started doing was, instead of reinvesting every day, I'm pulling everything I can out to try and get as much out as I can before it goes down. Luckily, I'm already in the profit on that, so if they shut down today, I won't lose any money. But it is what it is, guys. And I'm willing to gamble with my money, but I'm not willing to gamble with yours. So as soon as I got some confirmation on the issues that they were having, that it's actually happening and not just some FUD, I completely scrapped that idea for one of the programs that we were going to use, one of the companies that we were going to use. But you can see here, at 640 transactions into Teris, we'll have brought in 320 Ethereum. 200 has already been paid out to the line. So people that got in, 200 Ethereum has already been paid to people that were previously in Teris before you. That leaves us with a balance of 120 owed to the line. So there's our goals, 120 Ethereum. Obviously, it's going to take some time. It is what it is, guys. All right, and that just kind of goes into using Crypto Trader Bot, which that has all been scrapped now because, let's face it, I don't think Crypto Trader Bot's going to be around for more than another month or two, if that, and so I'm not going to sink Teris's money in there. It just wouldn't make any sense to do that. So that is the breakdown of Teris, And how do you play? It's very simple. You're just going to click this button. And you can click that up to 4 times. And you're just going to wait to get your Ethereum back. That's it. That's in a nutshell, that's how you play this game. Now, we will be launching, we will be announcing the launch beforehand. And it does pay to get in first. It pays to be one of the early people in because, if you get in, if you're one of the first 50 transactions, for a fact you're going to get paid before the lock. If you're in the top 100, you're going to get paid before the lock. Excuse me. And if you're the 5th transaction in, you might be able to get in, 7 or 8 times before the lock. So no one wants to be in the contract when it locks. It's the truth. It's a fact. No one wants that. But the plus side here is that even if you are locked in, you will get paid. It's not like the Gears, where everyone stopped playing Revolution, and so the Gears weren't generating any money to pay the line. This isn't dependent on any other contract being played or not. That's the advantage of arbitrage bots working for you, is they're always working. Always. Excuse me. If you do happen to be one of the people in the lock, don't worry. It's going to take a little bit of time to pay your Ethereum, but it is coming, And if you also happen to be someone stuck in the Gears, it's going to take a little bit of time, but don't worry. We're coming to help, Excuse me. Unfortunately, it's not an overnight solution, but short of winning the lottery, we just don't really see any other way to do it besides a long-term project. So, I don't know what the hell is going on with me right now. Anyway, that is Teris. That is what we've come up with. That is how we're going to free the gears, and get everyone to stop staring at the freaking I am owed window, because I'm kind of tired of looking at it, and I'm sure you are too. So if you have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, feel free to get a hold of me or Medic or Bones, and we'll take everything into consideration. But we do believe we have the winning formula here. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I really look forward to launching this. And this is going to be coming out sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We have had a little bit of issues with our UI developer. He has had some personal business happen to him that has delayed the UI from being completed. But we do hope to have a testnet up, like open beta version, for people to play around with and help us test this, because you know, the last thing that we would want to do is launch this thing and then find a bug. You know, so we're hoping to have that testnet up and running within the next week or so that it can be running for a little bit and hopefully identify any issues, any bugs, with enough time for us to fix them before we actually launch. And we're going to make sure that we have a good polished working product before we launch it, because I'm just not going to accept launching a broken thing and so now we have to fix the gears and Teris. You know, I'm just not that way. I like to test everything 3 or 4 times at least before I actually do it. So with that being said, we're hoping to have a open testing period, and we will announce that beforehand. But we are going to need your help testing it. So if you would like to test it, let me know. You can also get a hold of Crypto Medic or Crypto Bones, I'm sure, and let them know that you would be interested, and we will figure out some way to do this. Anyway, that's all I've got for Teris. I do have one more video planned for today. Might have to delay that a little bit because little man is now awake. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing some daddy duty. But hopefully when he goes down for his nap, I'll be able to put out a video on the new division of WPI that has been launched and that I'm a part of. If you caught the stream last night, you already know it's called War Dogs Gaming. Hang on one second, let me pull up the logo, a little teaser for you, but I will have a whole video on it, you know, what we are, what we're all about, and what we can do for you. So give me 1 second so I can pull up this logo. All right, guys, I can't find the standalone logo, but here it is, right there. And this is actually a screenshot of our website that we have up. It's not quite ready for the public just yet, but this is our logo. We kind of like it, War Dogs Gaming. You know, and we got ourselves a little pit bull here. You know, of course, he's the king of pit bulls. Because if you're going to have a dog, you may as well have the best damn dog, right? So we're very, very excited about opening up War Dogs Gaming. So I will have a video all about that a little bit later today. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed the announcement of Teris. I know this thing is going to work, and I'm very, very excited about it. So I hope to see you in there, and let's free this Ethereum, guys. Jarhead out.